Well, hi, Jess. How are you doing today?
Oh, fantastic. It's nice to see you, Joyce.
Thanks. Nice to see you as well. And thank you for doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it. So, I wanted to talk about passwords today. Um, how important is it to have a password?
You know, pretty much everything we do today in this digital environment requires a password of some sort. And even in 2021, 85% of all breaches or compromises of critical systems, either personal or professional, are still caused by humans and the use
Wow.
of weak or reused passwords. You
Wow.
know, a
Okay.
hacker only has to guess your password right one time, and it's up to all of your security protocols to thwart those efforts by helping you maintain good password hygiene. It's more important now than ever, and it's going to continue to grow in 2022.
Wow. Wow. 80%. Wow, that's large. You mentioned good password hygiene. So what is good password hygiene?
Good password hygiene really comes from three things. Number one, don't reuse your passwords. Number two,
Okay.
make sure that your passwords are a combination of things that people wouldn't easily guess. And number three, make sure that it's like a combination of length. So anywhere from, 8 to 20 characters, depending on what site you're entering. They'll usually tell you what the parameters are. And then some use and mixture of both uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols are usually what make the strongest password. Oftentimes people will choose like 8 is about the least amount of characters you want in your password to make it
Okay.
less guessable. It's
Okay.
kind of like if you consider, if you're at the mall and in the parking lot, there are hundreds of cars there, and 90% of them have the doors locked. Right?
Right.
So
Right.
someone who's
Yeah.
out to do harm is just going to walk through that parking lot and pull those handles, pull those handles, pull those handles. Right?
Okay.
Don't let yours the one be the one that's easy to open because you forgot to
Right.
lock your car. That's
Right.
effectively the need for high security passwords these days. So at least 8 characters, and you can choose a term as the base of that character password, and then just change it a little bit based on what website you're on so that you can remember it.
Okay. All right. Very good. I know I've heard a lot of people say they use their pets' names, grandparents' names, their kids' names, and if they have to use a date as numbers, they're going to pick a significant date. But it sounds like that's even too common to use those.
It's too common to use those, and it's way too easy for people to access that information. So
Okay.
here's one of those examples. You know, all those quizzes on Facebook you can take that's like, where did you grow up and who was
Right.
your favorite
Yes.
teacher and all of
Yep.
that. Those are absolute gold mines for people who are using social engineering to pretend like they are you and gain access to your account. So if they can see who your children are based on your profile and who you're
Right.
connected with, that they can see what your anniversary is, what your birthday is, they've got a whole bunch of really good information to start guessing what your password might be. So please don't use those.
That
There's a
makes
lot of
total
easier ways.
sense. Yeah, that makes total sense because I just about every day you see those questions on Facebook
Yeah.
and everybody's answering. I do have one friend that I see
Yes.
whenever he answers them, he says password 123. So he must have the
Yeah.
inside scoop on
He
those.
knows what's going on there. And, in those instances, Facebook is absolutely collecting that data. Like it's going to live in that world. So don't do those kinds of quizzes, please. It puts too much of your personal information out in a place where you have no control over it.
Exactly, exactly. So talked about strong passwords and good password hygiene and stuff. Um, and not to reuse passwords for, for different accounts. So how can, somebody remember all these passwords? I remember years ago, I could buy like a book at an office supply store, and you could write down the account website, your username, your password, your security questions and answers. But that's a lot of writing, and losing the book or having to update it, every 6 months or whatever. You can only cross out so many things before you run out of room. Is there something online that would be maybe easier for people to use to keep track of this?
Absolutely. So there are a lot of options online. People who most commonly use Google Chrome may have come
Okay.
across the option to save your passwords as a function of Google Chrome. That is
Okay.
super convenient. And it's not a terrible way to go about keeping track of your passwords and allowing it to autofill, except for
Okay.
you don't have control of that data. And Google Chrome is often updated based on security needs and vulnerabilities that they found.
Okay.
So that's a convenient way, but maybe not amazingly secure. There are
Okay.
also some other really great enterprise tools that will not only have that same kind of vault experience for you, where all of your passwords are saved in one place. They also will give you recommendations and a security score that says, I think the average person has about 250 credentials or passwords to
Wow.
things,
Wow.
right? Each
Okay.
individual person. So when you use an enterprise sort of password vault, it will give you a security score that says, you've reused 15 of these passwords, or they're weak because they're too short, or whatever the case may be, and help you go through and change those so you can increase your security score. The real benefit of tools like that also is that you only have to remember one password, the password to the vault, and then everything else is stored within there. So I highly recommend tools like that. My 90-year-old neighbor was having some struggles with her Roku in her house, and it kept dropping off the network. And so every time we had to go over there and reset it, she'd get her password book out, but she had to go through pages and pages to determine which password was the most recent password. Several times we had to call her son to find out what her password was to get things back online. And the enterprise platforms that really do that vault made it so easy that even she could do it. I'm telling you, there's good stuff out there.
So what would someone search in what phrase would someone search in order to find those enterprise vaults, and in order to research them and make a determination which one they want to use?
I think password vault is really the determination, right? There's password managers and there's password applications, but a vault, it just kind of leads you to a higher security level.
Okay, so people should use password vault in their search engine.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, that's great information, Jessica. I really appreciate it. And hopefully people will watch this and go back to their accounts and make the appropriate changes to secure and lock down their accounts. So I'm looking forward to having you back, and maybe we'll dive deeper into passwords, or we'll talk about something totally different. Who knows? We'll see.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much, Joyce.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. All right.